Do you feel cold or warm or anything like that?
Johnson Joseph moved to Ireland from India 17 years ago. He began work as a radiographer in the Hermitage Clinic in Dublin and has since risen the ranks.
I have been involving in setting up the new cath lab here. I've been involved in setting up new MRI. I can share my experience, what I gathered from India.
Last year, the Hermitage's parent BlackRock Health Group recruited 150 new staff from outside the EU. Like most healthcare providers, it needs overseas talent due to local shortages of key skills.
We see a lot of graduate, say nurses for instance, they'll take a year or two and they might go abroad to train in other countries to broaden their skill sets, which is of course fantastic. The hope is that they might come back to us someday. The reason why we do go abroad also is to see what other skill sets we can get.
Full employment means large numbers of organisations are similarly dependent on immigrant labour. Currently 20% of the workforce are not Irish. Of those, around 10% are from the UK, over half from the EU, with the balance from other parts of the world. And while after EU expansion and during the Celtic Tiger era, most immigrants came from Eastern Europe, that's changed recently.
It's mainly outside of the European Union is where people are coming from now, and that's more or less been driven by labour demand issues, and we have issues in terms of the public sector where we have job openings or opportunities, particularly in the health sector, that we cannot fill.
Indeed, over 13% of non-Irish working here are in the health sector, with similar proportions in retail and industry. But there's also been significant growth in tech work permits.
Research shows that immigrants are more likely to have lower quality jobs, though, and typically earn at least a fifth less than Irish nationals.
There's no conclusive studies, however, about the numbers of illegal immigrants in the workforce, nor whether immigration has suppressed wages or not.
At the moment, what you're finding is that there's such labour shortages. There's obviously changes now in the work permit system to try and facilitate employers being able to recruit low-skilled workers from outside of the European Union, that it's unlikely that they're driving down wages.
But experts also point out that work permits are only granted to those from outside Europe as a last resort.
And that is governed in policy. An employment permit is only going to be granted where the individual is going to meet a very particular skill shortage, and or the employer has been unable to source that talent within the European area.
Skills like those of Johnson Joseph, which are increasingly in short supply. Will Goodbody, RTE News.